Hi, I'm Sarah Player. I am running for the open position on the Select Board. I was born and raised in Ipswich. I'm a product of the Ipswich Public Schools. My husband and I have 2 daughters who are currently attending Ipswich High School. Ipswich has served me really well, and having the opportunity to serve on the Select Board would be a chance for me to give back. I do have some previous committee experience. I served on the school committee for 2 terms, or 6 years, and my last 2 years on the school committee I was chair. I think some of Ipswich's biggest challenges right now are the water supply. They have an aging infrastructure. We have challenges with droughts, as well as water quality. That's absolutely one of our biggest challenges. I think another challenge is how to balance responsible development and affordable housing. We have to make sure the developments in town fall within the character of Ipswich, and that those developments can be supported by our resources, by our water, by our schools, by public safety. I think another big challenge for Ipswich is its overall general aging infrastructure. We're an old town. We have old water pipes. We have aging buildings. Both elementary schools are aging. The public safety buildings are really old as well. And our roads need continuous upkeep. As far as the budget challenges in town, of course, the schools have a structural budget deficit. There are some challenges on the municipal side of the budget, particularly the facilities budget. We have a lot of square footage in town, and a lot of challenges there. The good news is I think we also have some great successes in Ipswich. Of course, I think the primary success in Ipswich are people. People who are born and raised here tend to stay or come back. We also are able to attract new people to town, and as well as new businesses. People are passionate about Ipswich. They're invested in Ipswich, and I think that speaks to the community. I think this year, one of the positives are people have become more involved in the projects that are coming around town. And I think Zoom has given increased access to people who might not have shown up to meetings face to face, but who might be more willing to Zoom in from home. I think another big success story comes out of the passion that people have would be our climate resiliency work, the green communities, commitment to kind of preparing our coastal town for what's coming. One of our opportunities in Ipswich is also the funding that's coming from the federal government, the American Rescue Plan money. So that's both a challenge and an opportunity. So we don't have the details yet on what some of that money, the parameters around that money. However, we need to have a plan ready to go. So when we understand that criteria, we'll be able to kind of execute some of those plans so we can get kind of maximize that funding. So I think the role of the Select Board in town is one that the Select Board should facilitate and coordinate town projects. Years ago, we would see different committees kind of struggling and competing for the tax dollar. So sometimes those projects would be pitted against each other. And I think over the past several years, there's been a movement toward collaboration and strategic planning. A few years ago, when I was the chair of the school committee, I was able to work with the chairs of the FinCom and the Select Board. We were able to align our goals and kind of start to run the tri-board meeting instead of as 3 different factions, but more so as a team. And a recent product of that is the new strategic plan that kind of outlines some of the town projects and the town needs. I think we need to kind of dig into that document a little bit more. I'm hoping that document remains a living document, one that we can revisit and revise, and that will allow us to kind of plan these big capital projects in a thoughtful way so that we don't tap out taxpayers, but that we do make kind of regular investments in our town. I really feel if the town isn't willing to invest in ourselves, who will? I think also that the Select Board needs to champion the town projects. We task working groups to investigate and work on these projects, but then the Select Board really needs to kind of be the champion and educate the public on the projects. And I think when we look at projects, we also have to recognize and educate the public on the do nothing option. So it's important that we recognize that there are costs and risks with kind of kicking the can down the road and not really investing in the town and moving forward with projects. I think some of the skills I bring to the table, I think as a former school committee member, I bring a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge about the school budget, which of course is over 60% of the municipal budget. I have a good understanding of policies, and I've been able to demonstrate success working with a variety of folks who are both still elected officials on the 3 boards, as well as the professionals in town hall and on the school side. So I have a lot of experience kind of developing relationships and being able to kind of execute and work with others. I think it's important to recognize you can have the best ideas, but if you can't work with people and you can't listen and communicate well, it's really hard to kind of execute those ideas. After growing up in town, I have a broad view of the values of town and Ipswich values, and how we as Ipswich citizens always want to balance the history of our town and the progress that we can make, and as we continue to move the town forward. Growing up here and spending, my whole life here, I know people at all age groups. I have children in the high school, so I hear from, high school students. I was a soccer coach, so I know a lot of kids beyond my own. I also know people in my age group, as well as my parents' age group. So I'm talking to a lot of people. There's a lot to learn about the municipal side of government. I feel like my 6 years on the school committee allowed me to learn a lot of different skills that I can now bring with me and continue that collaboration on the select board. So I think the 6 years on the school committee also has given me a real clear view about the type of time commitment this committee work demands, that you have to do the due diligence and come prepared to meetings and have the endurance to participate coherently for all of these evenings. You also have to be fair, I think, and reasonable, and be able to work with other folks. I think interpersonal skills and the desire to want to work together are critical skills on committees. So I appreciate you spending the time to listen to my intro tonight, and I would really appreciate your support on the May 18th election. Thank you.
Hi, citizens of Ipswich. My name is Helen Weatherall. I live at 44 Fellows Road, and I'm running for Select Board. As a serving member of Ipswich Planning Board, the Community Development Steering Committee, the Water Mitigation Action Committee, and more recently, Ipswich Citizens for Sustainable Growth, I see firsthand what is working in Ipswich government and what is not. I have gotten a close-up look at the primary issues facing the town, and as an active participant in committees and boards, I have been made abundantly aware of the obstacles to both finding solutions and to seeing these solutions through. Key to finding solutions to seeing them through is vision, articulating the vision, and getting buy-in. And additionally, there's the need for backbone. It is not enough to create committees and action groups. They're important, but they're not enough. There comes a time where decisions need to be made and acted upon. Terrific, Helen. You've identified a problem. Now how are you going to change it by being on the select board? And my answer to you would be to have courage. To understand that there comes a point in time where you've collected enough information, you are well enough informed, the experts you've consulted with are reliable and worthy of your respect. And at that point in time, you have to make a tough decision. And I believe that that is the job of the select board. I'm seeking a seat on the select board to inject courage, the courage to act. Moving forward into the future, Ipswich faces challenges and obstacles that we have all become extremely familiar with. They are concerns about water, they are concerns about affordable housing and the pressures of growth, There are concerns about improvements to infrastructure. There are concerns about education and the need to improve our schools. And there is the ever-present concern about climate change. Whether or not we all agree on the cause of climate change, we are foolish if we don't acknowledge these changes are happening. And so we need to look outside, look to examples of how other towns are responding, look to the experts for guidance, look for opportunities for grants, and take action and act ahead of the time. One thing I do think a lot about is being proactive rather than reactive in our decision making and actions. In acting reactively, you're forced into situations either to make a quick decision or a poorly informed decision or a more costly decision because you have delayed the decision making in the first place. If you act proactively, you can collect your information, you can collect input from experts, you can talk amongst your different groups and committees, and you can act in a practical, pragmatic, and well-timed manner so that in the end the expense to the community is less, the buy-in is greater, and the end results are just all around more desirable and more advantageous to the town. I'm asked to talk about the successes of Ipswich, and I want to say there's an awful lot to crow about in this town, and I think you all listening know that and feel it, especially on the spring that we're experiencing now. My gosh, apple trees are blooming, daffodils are blooming. We have lovely, wonderful open space that we're all celebrating during this really difficult COVID time. There's tremendous things to celebrate in Ipswich. For instance, the Ipswich Illumination. What a fantastic event it is. It has grown over the years. While it has grown, it's also it's maintained a very strong character that we're very proud of. So we build on it, and the whole town participates and celebrates. It's a really rich experience. And when I bring it up, it's because I'm thinking of the fact that this was something proposed by individuals, and then by collaboration of many different individuals, it's been made a tremendous success. But I think also about businesses, and I think about EBSCO, and I think about the New England Biolabs. Those are businesses, and they've brought growth in construction. But in working with them, in negotiating deals for how they can grow and thrive, we've worked with them so that they have contributed in quite a large way to the quality of life in Ipswich and our long view of how to maintain character and open space. So I really salute our relationship with both EBSCO and with the Biolabs, and I really want to celebrate that as a terrific success for Ipswich. What I'm looking to bring to the Select Board, and what I think the Select Board really could use going forward, is vision, ideas, and energy, and conviction to act. I believe I will bring each one of those qualities to the office. In the course of running for Select Board, I've had many people say to me, Helen, we've got two fine candidates. How do I know how to choose? Why should I vote for you? And my answer to that question is vision and ideas. As Ipswich moves forward, we're facing many challenges. We've heard them all many times now. To successfully meet these challenges, we need vision and we need ideas. When I talk about vision, I mean to have an idea of where we are, where we want to get to, and how we're going to do that. To turn vision into action takes courage, and that is another quality that I believe I possess and would like to bring to the Select Board. We need to move our ideas into action to solve our problems. It is not enough to create committees or action groups. They are important, they are necessary, they are essential. But there comes a point at which decisions need to be made and they need to be acted upon. As a member of the Select Board, I will seek to foster communication, to improve understanding between town offices, boards, and committees, and our town citizens. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending the time. That you have indicates that you are as concerned about the future of Ipswich as I am. May 18th is election day. I hope you'll turn out and think of me at the polls. Thank you very much.